All right, we're back. And what are we doing today? Well, I just uploaded my most recent video, which was the NMPZ stuff. And I think what we'll do for this one, which was a comment that had a few likes on it, was explaining every round. Now, I feel like I usually do this, so it kind of feels like you're not watching the videos. But usually when I play, I'm kind of breaking down every round, but I'm going to really make it a point here of everything that is a thought that would lead me to where I'm going. So I think it's Canada, but why do I think it's Canada? Well, it's tough, right? Because some of these things I can explain, like the wood poles is kind of a North American thing, right? The landscape is always kind of the most important thing. Mailboxes are really a North American thing as well. This green sign, we see English on it, but kind of a weird thing right in front of it. Maybe that could be French, so this could be French Canada. This house with like the shutters and all that, pretty North American. We see 20, looks like probably miles per hour. These signs are something you see in North America. These evergreen trees, North America. That looks to be a French flag, which maybe has a fleur-de-lis there. Can you see that? Yeah, that's a French thing. Can't really tell on the plate, but I think it's Canada. Now, could it be weird US? I guess it could be, right? But I think it's Canada. And we have a lake to, or maybe not even a lake, but maybe like a pond to the north, northeast, east. Where exactly in Canada? It's kind of tough to say. Like, it's a little flat, so I'm probably not going to go Newfoundland, even though it kind of just like feels like it to me. I can't really explain that. A lot of it is just feeling. I want to go New Brunswick. I never go New Brunswick, but I think it could be. Choose like a small lake or something here. And you want to look for things that fit. Like ideally, you're looking for roads that match up. But yeah, I'm not really seeing anything that matches up per se. Like this is certainly not it, but I'm never gonna find it because I don't even know if New Brunswick is the right area. Right? It happened to be 34 miles away, so that's actually a pretty good start here. Kind of a tough round. We did really, really well. This kind of looks the same, right? Kind of looks the same. Similar. We have this asphalt. It's a lighter gray. Can't really get a good look at the plates too well. We see a lot of American-made cars, or at least what appears to be. The trucks. American-made cars are very popular in Canada, even though you see the US have like Japanese and Korean and, every single type of a car that you'd expect. German. Yeah, it looks like a Chevy. I think this could be Canada as well. I mean, you just kind of see the houses that look like it, right? Basketball hoop. You see those in other countries as well, but kind of more of a North American thing. Just feels to me more like Canada. Why does it though? I really want to put my finger on it so I can explain to you. A lot of evergreen trees, a lot of American-made cars. Feels maybe a little bit more empty. It's not necessarily Canada for sure, but I think it will be. I think it will be. And I'm gonna go Manitoba maybe, or yeah, let's go near Winnipeg. It seems kind of open. It just has a little bit of a different vibe than what I usually would feel in the US. Wide streets are North American, and it just seems flat and open. It doesn't really feel like it's in this eastern area, so I am going to go Manitoba. 36 miles away. I'm feeling Canada right now, all right? I'm not doing too bad. This is Taiwan. We have Taiwan poles, which is the caution all the way down. And like sometimes it won't go all the way down, but that's if something's covering it. Otherwise, it's always going all the way down. We see some misty, big mountains. It feels pretty tropical. You can see some of these tropical plants. I thought I maybe even saw a palm tree. But now I'm Not able to locate it, but it just feels a little tropical. Now, we do see misty mountains in Bhutan quite a bit, but you're not going to see the Chinese like language. You're not going to see the Mandarin, right? And you're not going to see these caution poles, and the plates would be red, which they're not here. Not that there are a ton of cars, but no red plates. Where in Taiwan? That's tough. That's real tough. We're inland for sure. Taiwan's an island, so I'm not going to go like too close to the coastline. And we know it's more inland probably because of all these mountains. Usually gets more flat along any coast. Where exactly is this? Real tough to say. We can look at the compass. We're on a north-south stretch. Kind of. I mean, this road is kind of like east-west, right? We're looking at the compass. But it's going northwest here, curves to the west, and then maybe back to the north, I would bet. But real tough to say. Real tough to say. We can zoom in and even get a better angle. Maybe it's going more of almost a true west. So east-west strip, actually. East-west stretch. But where would that be? It could be anywhere. I'm not even sure about the true size of the road, so I don't know if I would want to go like on one of these yellow main roads. We have mountains every which way. Let's just go right there. 54 miles away. I mean, we got inland, right? But more north. That was tough, to be fair. Imagine doing better in Canada twice than Taiwan. All right, yellow outside lines. Specific to only a few places. White inside line. I think it's South Africa. It's so nice, though. I think this could be, is it Gen 3 coverage with the car? Not positive, but yellow outside line, white inside line. I think it's South Africa. It's so open, but it's a little more green than I would expect. I know Eswatini has a white car, but it's kind of glitched, so I'm not really sure on the car meta aspect of it. Yellow outside. I think it's just going to be South Africa. I really do. It's so flat. I'm going to go close to Eswatini probably. Maybe a bit more north. So in this middle area, it's real dry. Like real dry. Lesotho gets more green. Around Lesotho and inside Lesotho is real green. Very, very easy to spot hills. Eswatini is like a little bit of a greener South Africa. However, in Eswatini, I don't expect we'd see a long road like this. I just don't expect that we would. I could be wrong. You know, just because I'm explaining every round doesn't mean I'm going to be right. I can only explain it as well as I can. See that we're on an east-west road. Boom. Let's go right there. Just north of Eswatini. Now, it was west. It was just north of Lesotho. That does make sense as to why it'd be a little bit more green. It is real green around there. But I thought we had a better bet of getting near Lesotho. But a lot of coverage is usually going to be in this Bloemfontein and Pretoria region. A lot of it is going to be spaced in between there. Just for reference, because the coverage is important to know. This is Israel. I mean, it's got to be. Why Israel? Yellow plate is the big thing. Big tell, double yellow plate on those cars. We're going to see Hebrew probably on that sign. Tough to see, but once you know it is, it's easier to kind of see. Like, yeah, I could see that being Hebrew. Also, it's dry, right? It kind of does feel like the Middle East. We have these square buildings. There's Hebrew on that sign as well. I don't see any type of a real location here, but it is hilly. It is hilly. But where in Israel is this? The big thing is the yellow plates and the dry climate. Because you can see, and maybe not even just dry, but arid, right? Because you can have it dry and kind of like beachy and sandy like northern Colombia with the yellow plates. But this is just arid. It's clearly like desert-y, right? And that just is going to be Israel. Now, where in Israel? Yeah, I'm not really sure. It doesn't even have to be a major city, too. Let's go Jerusalem. It's probably closer to Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv, I feel like, has more coverage than maybe Haifa. but it's dry. I think it's more dry in the south to where it gets a little bit greener in the north, but we'll see. It is north. Kabul. Yeah, it could have been anywhere, as I said, but nice little 23K. That's pretty good when I'm explaining each round. Maybe we'll do one or two more. It is 12:48, as you guys can see. I'm getting a little bit tired. This, to me, just strikes me as the U.S. right away. Wood poles. It is pretty green. Feels plainsy. Yellow middle lines. We have mountains off to the west. Snow-capped. Dead straight away. Dirt road is a little bit weird. But I mean, it's not even weird because that happens all the time in the US off these main roads. We don't really have any idea. It just seems it's so flat except for a mountain ridge to the west. Some mountains there to the east a little bit, but it's in general really flat. Where does this feel like with my gut feeling? It's tough to explain because we're thinking Great Plainsy, which is like right through here, these states. But here's the difference. There are mountains. So that makes me take my initial like Great Plains feel and drift a little bit to the west. And with these mountains here to the west, and I'm not sure it necessarily looks like Yellowstone or Bridger Teton, right? But I think in terms of where we are, it's an option. It also could be like, you know, Montana. I think it could be Colorado. Those don't really strike me as Rocky Mountains, but it could be a ridge somewhere in here, right? A little drier in here. So I don't really feel like it's New Mexico. Because we got to keep in mind, it's a little bit drier down here. It starts to get greener as you get more north. Don't really have many signs to work with. Maybe a blue sign with yellow text could indicate something. And why am I not thinking Canada? I just don't feel like you're going to see these types of mountains in Canada. And a lot of it just is feel. Like I'm really trying to help you guys, but I'm not even sure where this is. I think I'm going to go Wyoming. Maybe it's Bighorn. We are on an east-west road, right? East-west road with mountains to the west. I'm going to go there. Not really sure. Not really sure, but I think it could be Wyoming. It was New Mexico. Well, this is where it starts to get a little bit greener. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It starts to get real dry in here as well. It doesn't stay that green for too long. But even in this like southern area of Colorado, it can still look a little bit dry. So that is something to know. If we go to round two, this, again, a lot of it is feel, but it strikes me more as Mexico. Yellow middle lines can be Mexico. Looks like we have Spanish there. It looks like it could say redusa velocidad, you know, like slow down. Now we have a cross on the back of this sign, which is interesting. Because that's something that happens in Colombia a lot. This car can be in Colombia. Doesn't really look like a yellow plate. Also, doesn't really strike me as Colombia. Now, it can get a little bit like this in the north of Colombia. But I don't see yellow plates. It feels more like Mexico, but the cross on the back of the sign is really, really screwing me up here. Get some bricks going on. This is a tough one. I think it's more likely to be Mexico. Yellow middle lines. That can happen in Colombia too. It just feels too flat and dry. And not that it's super flat, but it's not, it doesn't look the way a lot of Colombia looks. And I don't know these chevrons are black and yellow. Let's look for the sun. That could be a big changer. It's not really, I mean, maybe it's in the south, right? Okay, so we can say this is Mexico probably then. Although the equator, right? Some of Colombia, a decent bit of Colombia is in the northern hemisphere. Jeez. This is the first true tough one. It's Mexico or Colombia. I just don't think it's Colombia with how dry it looks. I'm going to go like near Guadalajara. Wow, Brazil. It's real dry over here in Brazil too. Like probably east of Sao Luis and north of Salvador in that little chunk. Why did I not consider Brazil? It just usually doesn't look like this in Brazil. It's usually not quite so dry. I was fooled. I was fooled. Looked weird. Yeah, that'll happen sometimes. I never even considered Brazil, really. No Brazil polls going on. Anywhere that I can tell. Brazil does have black back of sign. I kind of didn't really even think about that. That's why you really have to consider everything. Like, what you want to do is have a mental checklist of, all right, let's see the road. Can we see any shadows? Can we determine sun position? Can we recognize any poles? And poles are really important. Can we see the camera generation if we know about this? This is Gen 2. We get the blur, top and bottom. I think it's Mexico. I think it's Baja California, and that's just experience of playing the game. It just really looks like it. I know they have Gen 2 coverage there. It's real dry, but we do have a yellow middle line. That happens in Mexico too. These kind of distinct, like brown, kind of like, I don't want to call them Rocky Mountains because they're not like the Rockies, right? But they're kind of like jagged. There are a bunch of little ones all over the place, and then it's still kind of flat sometimes. You could see that being like a salt flat maybe to the east. I don't know about that. It could be water over there. It could be a coast to the east. I think this is Baja California, just from the look. And I think it's somewhere in this range. I don't think it's La Paz. It's clearly not a very big city. Something's going on to the north. I don't know what this is. We're on a curvy road. It curves south. And then curves northwest. Could be here. I don't really know, is what it comes down to. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure that it's Baja California. It just feels like it. It's dry. It's got those mountains that you see, or those ridges that you see in Baja California. It's Gen 2 coverage, yellow middle line. San something. Could say San Carlos, Baja California del Sur. Could say that. Could say San Juanico. San Juanico. Not sure about that. Really not sure what it would say. This to me has some potential. Random thing here to the north. Weird curve going on. Why not? It was Baja, but it was way more north. And not by anything that says San, unless it's saying San Felipe. But yeah, it was Baja. It's just tough to pinpoint. Okay. So this is an interesting one. Because I don't know right away. I really don't have an idea. Interesting. I was thinking maybe like Amman. Yeah, I think it might be. Black car is in Jordan. Non-EU plates. Palm trees going on. Kind of see these brick buildings. Amman is so recognizable, but this to me feels really upscale for Amman. A little bit weird to me. This is interesting. This is like a taxi. Green on the side of the plate. Not sure about that. This appears to be, I would say, maybe a mosque. Could be. Gotta think that Jordan practices Islam. Right? A lot of white going on. Kind of like pale, beigey buildings. That's Middle Eastern. Is this left side driving though? It looks like a hand on the wheel maybe. Is there any chance this is Malta? That's a wheel on the left side, so I'm going to say no. I'm going to say not Malta. Malta drives on the left. I think it's Jordan. I think it's Amman, which is where most of the coverage is in Jordan. It just seems really nice. So I almost want to go different. I'm going to go maybe Jerash. I'm not sure if this is a nicer city than Amman, but we're going to go for it. It was just Amman. Just nice area, Al Rashid. Could be other nicer areas, but a lot of times in Amman, it just kind of seems, I don't know, less nice looking. This is interesting. Looks like Europe right away. White road lines, very, very common in Europe. You see these, like, I always call them terracotta. I'm not sure if that's the proper wording, but they're like shingle red roofing, right? It looks like stone maybe, but we see the white buildings. Some of these are yellowish. It's definitely Europe. And the region that this looks like, as we get a poll here, or a bollard, I should say, the region this looks like is Slovenia to maybe as far north as Slovakia down through this area. What tells me that? Really the buildings, I would say. The architecture is the big thing. It's this specific type of roofing with, it's kind of like more of a white or a beigey or kind of these lighter colors. Big mountain to the south. It's tough to pinpoint for me. Now, these bollards, right? These ones, we see these in Austria. Doesn't quite look like Austria. Doesn't really feel alpine enough. We see them in Slovenia as well. I could definitely see Slovenia, especially in the south. Could be this big-ass mountain. Schneznik. Could be that. There are a lot of big mountains here, by the way, so it doesn't have to be. But to me, it doesn't really feel alpine. So, based on the buildings, and hopefully I described those well enough, I don't really know the poll. It's cylindrical. It crosses off some of these. I know they have similar looking ones in Slovakia. I can see this being Slovakia, but the bollard doesn't check out. Slovakia has the ones that you see in Czechia, which maybe we'll get to those. I'll be able to explain it. I'm not doing that well this round. I hope we can save it with a good, hopefully this is Slovenia. Hopefully I've even found the mountain. A mountain is to, I would say, the southeast. Is there a town in here? Doesn't really appear to be a town in here unless maybe we're here. We are on a road that curves northeast and another like side road to the north. Let's see. So we are on a road that goes to the east. Another one goes to the northeast. I feel like that kind of checks out a little bit. That road goes to the south, curves. It's the best thing I have. It was Serbia. Now, Serbia is interesting. Serbia has those bollards as well. Now, I thought they had ones that looked more like what you see in like Italy. And Montenegro, I think, has them. These ones are interesting. Maybe not bad to study. Now, the red is off center. Now, I wonder if maybe in Serbia, it's off center versus where in Slovenia and Austria, the red strip is centered. Kind of a tough round for me. I mean, I knew about the region. Hopefully I explained that well enough. But maybe the red strip off to the side is something that you see more often in Serbia. Wasn't entirely sure. That's not a great game. We got the country right, I guess 3 times. 3 out of 5 though is not why you're watching a video that's hopefully going to help you get better. This looks like Brazil. This looks like that region of Brazil we talked about earlier. These poles are Brazilian. You see similar ones in France, Portugal. We see brick all over the place. It's clearly very tropical, but it's also a little bit dry. But you see there are these rungs here. Brazil pole. Brick all over the place, especially where you can kind of see the cement to hold everything together. This car, as you saw earlier, is in Brazil. It's also in like Colombia, Mexico, Ecuador, maybe. But these poles are really the big thing. Plus all the brick. Plus just the look, man. It just feels like it. Palm trees. Everything's kind of more reddish. I'd say is a good indicator that it could be Brazil. And Brazil's real tough to do well in. But it does feel a little bit more coastal. It's kind of open here. It's not quite as green. Everything kind of looks like red, but maybe a little bit drier. But a lot of green trees, palm trees. And some of this is tough to explain. But I am going to go north. The soil color, as you can see, is a little bit lighter. Gets more red kind of around like here. This area. So I think we're going to go real north. I'm going to go maybe São Luís. I wouldn't be surprised if it were any of these in here. It could also be like down in here, although I'd kind of doubt it. Let's see. Yep, it is pretty close to where we dropped it in Maranhão. Hopefully I didn't say it too badly. Maranhão. Tough. But yeah, we went São Luís. That's pretty good for Brazil. Brazil's really tough to score well in, I would say. This is Turkey. The big thing is the language. Turkish has a lot of Ks. Satelik is something I've seen quite a bit in Turkey. EU strip. Get the blue plate. See that little blue thing on the plate? EU. It's going to tell you it's Europe, but some countries are not part of the EU, so they don't have that strip. But that blue strip is very EU. A lot of Ks in Turkish. They're also very proud of being Turkish, so you see flags all over the place. So it's just a very Turkish round. Where exactly? Man, I don't know. I do not know. Now, I can't remember. Is Satelik? Is that a place? I don't think so. I'm not positive about it. I don't speak Turkish. That's kind of like the downfall for me in Geoguessr is I don't really speak more than one language. I would say I do pretty well with Spanish. I wouldn't describe myself as fluent in Spanish, but I could understand you if you spoke it to me. I can speak back. I can get off what I want to say. Most of the time, I know a lot of words, but I wouldn't say that I'm fluent in Spanish. I'm not really sure where this is. We see also a mosque. Turkish, or Turkey is a nation that really practices Islam a lot too. Muslim nation, I would say. So you see a lot of mosques around. Another indicator that it could be Turkey. You see these bricks I talked about that could make it Brazil. Maybe we'll go more coastal. Let's go it doesn't really seem like nice and tropical, like coastal really. A lot of these coastal cities, it really feels like, you know, like a Miami in the way that seems like a coastal city. But it was a Torglu. I'm sorry. I'm sure that was horrible. Right area in Turkey. I can't really explain it more than I did for why I went there. Long antenna is something that's pretty common in Russia. We see these plates. No EU strip. Maybe that one has it. That one might as well. That one I don't think it does. Doesn't really look like Russia, is the thing. Now, we also see a language, not Cyrillic. I think those are lights. So I don't think that will help us at all. This one's interesting. We get a little bit more there. Stresnia, Kirtina. This one's tough. This one's tough for me. Again, as far as the region goes, remember we talked about the way the buildings look earlier, and I told you guys this region from like Slovenia, you know, down through here, and even Bulgaria will have them. This, they don't quite look the same, right? But they look similar. That will push you up north a little bit. That's going to tell you more of like a Hungary, Slovakia, Czechia, Poland. Those are kind of the big four, I would say, when it looks more like this. Where you see kind of like these beigey colored buildings. But the roofs, you know, kind of like some of these are more brown, black. They're a little bit darker. That'll push you up north a bit. These poles, you know, like hard cylinders. I want to say Slovakia. The language, we saw a little bit of it. Looks like it could be Slovak. Not quite enough W's and Z's to be Polish. So I think I'm going to settle on Slovakia. Also, I might have saw an S earlier with a line over it. And not like, I don't know what to call that because it's not like a, that S you see. I don't know what to call it. Someone's going to tell me in the comments. But I think that's something you're going to see in Slovakia. So that's where I think it is with the pole, which is kind of like hard concrete cylinder. Maybe some wood as well. Let's go Slovakia. Where exactly? No idea. But it is Slovakia. Streak continues at 3. This strikes me immediately as Argentina or Uruguay. Why is that? Hard yellow line with white dashed on the side. That's Argentina and Uruguay. I maybe have seen that in like New Zealand too. Doesn't look like New Zealand. It's not hilly enough at all. This is very, very flat, as you can tell. Can't really get a good idea of the plate here. A lot of stuff is blurred. That pole looks kind of thick on the stop sign. Uruguay will more commonly have like thick backings. I'm not sure how thick that is. I'm going to lean Uruguay here more than Argentina. I just say Uruguay, sound as white as possible. However, Uruguay usually does not have very nice looking roads. That's a big thing. Usually in Uruguay, they're kind of like falling apart, potholes, not well lined on the side. Black car is Argentina, Uruguay as well. It's Argentina or Uruguay. Now, I don't know about this, that little, we'll call it a chevron, maybe it's not quite. It's really a 50-50 for me. I'm not really seeing the poles that I want to see in Argentina. Usually there are like some things coming off the top where it almost looks like concrete. Tough to describe. This one's tough. I'm gonna go Uruguay. But I very easily can see this being Argentina just on the other side. I can tell you for near certain, based on the road, based on how flat it looks, I think it's going to be east of Cordoba, north of Buenos Aires. I mean, I think it's right in here. Let's see. It is Argentina. It's right kind of where we said it was, where it could be. Tough round. With the quality of the road, I probably should have went Argentina. And it's not like the poles holding up the stop signs were all that thick. That's a miss on my part. Black plates, Malaysia, Indonesia is what this looks like. Black car. You see that in Southeast Asia too. Malaysia has these stickers on their cylindrical poles. Now, what's something that you got to keep in mind is this is also Malaysia too. This northern part of Borneo. In the south, it's Indonesia. In the north, it's Malaysia, and that's little Brunei. However, in non-mainland Malaysia, which is what this part is, you will not see these stickers on the poles, but it can still be Malaysia. When it has stickers, it's mainland. Now, we see a pretty distinct looking, what I would describe to be a coastal rock there to the north, I think we're right on the water. It just feels like it. It feels kind of flat out to that side, to the west. And this, I mean, you see rocks like this, like big, kind of like jutting out. I don't want to even call them a mountain because it's not quite that. You see that like in the water of certain countries. Like I'm thinking like China, I've seen, even though that's not on Google Maps. I think it could be like, you know, something like that. Just a big mountain kind of sticking out to the north. I think it could be here. Not sure. I mean, this is just kind of a theory, right? But that's where I say it could be water to the west, though. Tough to say. Really tough to say. Because this little rock formation, it might not even be an island. It might not even appear on the map. It could be something like that. I'm not sure. I'm just going to guess. I know it's Malaysia. Nah, it is middle. I thought it'd be more coastal, but we are, as you can see, got water all around. And it's like, wow, really not developed at all in here. So I wasn't quite right about that feel. But I'll do one more. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit. You know, I'm not perfect. Not a pro at this game. It's Cambodia right away. So we see these. Angkor, right? Anchor. But it's like Angkor Wat, right? Which is a really well-known kind of monument in Cambodia. I think it's more north. Not exactly sure where that is, but it's in Cambodia. We see this language too, which looks like Thai. It looks, you know, to the untrained eye, it looks like it could be Thai, you know, India, Bangladesh, Burma, you know, something that you'd see in there, Sri Lanka even, right? But it is Cambodian. What can help you tell, Cambo? Very red soil. This sign, pretty helpful too, that says Cambodia on it. Right side driving can be a really good indicator that it's, in fact, Cambodia and not Thailand when you're in between. I would say in general, when the soil is more red, I like to go more north. So maybe I'd think more like Krong Siem Reap. Yeah, I think it's definitely Cambodia. We know that for a fact. Right side driving. You get these poles that kind of look like they're Thai, but again, right side driving. So it's going to be Cambodia. It is 82 miles away, a little bit even more north than I went. This is Russia. Russia does this thing where they line the corner of all these intersections with bollards. I mean, so many of them, right? And they're similar ones to the ones that we saw in Serbia earlier. But they're lined all over this intersection. That's specifically a thing that the Russians do, at least in terms of what's covered on Google Maps. White road lines, right side driving. I mean, everything tells you Russia, but really the bollard stacking the corner is the big thing here. But also, it's so flat. So flat. Which in general pushes me out to the east, but it doesn't quite look like, I don't know, like bumpy at all, like near Mongolia. So I think it's probably in this area near Chelyabinsk, but I'm not positive. Yeah, I'd say it's a really good score in Russia. Russia's tough, but it's just like how flat open it was, but still being pretty green with the bollards told me Russia. And the reason I opted to go away from Moscow and all that, it just looked more open, flat, pushes me out east. Round 3. This to me looks like a Peru. It's so dry. White car is something you see in Peru, but these houses where it feels like it clay and it's so like brown and all that feels like Peru. Where in Peru? I'm so bad with Peru. Even getting Peru is a challenge to me sometimes. Could this be like a dry Bolivia? Certainly could be. White car. These like stone You know, cement cylindrical poles too. I feel like it's something you see in Bolivia quite a bit. I said it was Peru. Do I second guess myself? I think it could be Bolivia. I think it's more likely Peru. We're gonna go near Cusco. Excellent. I mean, as you can see, it is very close to Bolivia. It looks quite a bit like it does in the La Paz area, but did quite well there. Looks like Europe. See this like stone road. Blue strip on the left side. So it is certainly Europe. See the language. Looks like it's Italian to me. Lorenzetti, Imbotiti. I mean, multiple T's, Z's in there. I happen to know it's not Spanish because I know Spanish. You get the double G's. It'd be the soft G, so that's like Gia via de Giunte. Hopefully I didn't butcher that last part too bad. It's just, it very clearly appears to be Italian to me. Like the G's, the Z's, and the T's. That's a big thing with Italian, to differentiate that language over Spanish. Italian will have blue on both sides. And in the front, I wish I could show you the front of these plates. They're smaller, more compact, but still blue strip on both sides. Very tough to see if it has that there. Now, I've noticed that in Sicily, usually you will not see what appear to be Italian plates, so I kind of want to go Sicily here. Let's go to Catania. Just near San Marino. Middle of Italy. Kind of through there, but tough. This is Senegal. We know that right away. Road, very distinct. White middle lines, so sandy on the outside, but you still do see green trees. Senegal, to me, looks so distinct of all the African countries. Just with the sandy, like, orangey outside of the roads, with the green trees still, with the white road lines. You'll also see a lot of French in Senegal, and you also see rifts in the sky. There's one. There's another. See how it's like rifty? There's a big one. Senegal will have rifts. They'll also have these French poles. See those in France, but it's clearly not France, based off of just the landscape. Our landscape. We know it's absolutely Senegal. Where? That becomes a little bit tougher for me to tell you. Don't see a sign that necessarily will tell me anything. I can't read that at all. So we know we're Senegal for sure. But where exactly, I really couldn't tell you. All I can tell you is road direction. We're going like east-west. East-west road. Goes right through a town. Could be something like this where right there. 24 miles away. A very similar looking road that we chose. But yeah, a little bit farther south. That is 21. I'll do one more. Last one. Hopefully it's a good one too. I wanted to get more Europe because I'm bad at Europe. So maybe talking through could get me better. This is an interesting one. See Spanish. Now this, I was going to say, is this DR car? Yeah, it is. So we have the long white front with the bars on the car. Very Dominican Republic. Unless I'm missing something. I think it's definitely the DR. Now, I need to get better with the poles here, but they do have these square poles. Square poles can tell you DR when it kind of looks like this. Tropical. Now, where is this exactly? It looks nice. And I hate to say it, a lot of the DR does not look nice. So I think we're in Santo Domingo. There's coverage in two cities in the DR. There's Santo Domingo and there's Santiago de los Caballeros. I think it's going to be Santo Domingo. It looks real bad around here. So I think we're more likely on one of these roads. We're on an east-west road, judging by the compass. Can't read what that sign says. But it's mainly east-west. I think it's either this road or this road. Now, we can't see the coast for sure. I think there's a good chance it's right out on the other side of that, though. I think we'd be able to see the water, though. I think we're more likely on this one. Could be like right here, too. Plaza, something. Like, you could really look for that if you're trying to 5K. But the big thing here is the car. And then also we see the square poles. And maybe some of them have this, this one's, cylindrical, but it has this weird design on it. Right, with the, like, pinkish and then the black on top and bottom. Maybe that's something you see in DR a lot, but DR is not a country I've really had to get good at, because one, it doesn't pop up too often, and two, it has car meta. So usually, I'm lazy, I don't have to be good. I just see, oh, car, boom, we're good to go. But I'm gonna plonk down right there. 6.1 miles away. I did pick the right highway, I went more north in the end, and it was probably right where I clicked earlier. I said it looked real crappy here, and I clicked there anyway. I totally forgot. It's another thing, is you can't forget what you know. A lot of people will go US here right away, or Canada even. This white sign, Finland. Finland does have yellow lines. We see these real, like, north-looking trees. They're skinnier. See a lot of birch trees. Maybe not a ton here, but I mean, you see those there. The little skinny white trees are birch trees. And this does just look like the US or Canada. But all the birch trees are just more common in Scandinavia. But the big thing here is the white sign with the black text. It's long too. All these Finnish words are so long. It's 100% Finland to me. If it's anywhere else, I will be shocked. It is Finland. We're 86 miles away, just east of Helsinki. The white sign is the big giveaway there. These mountains look like the ones, and how do I describe these? They look like a limestone almost, I think, right? But there's greenery all over them. You see that, like, Montenegro, Albania, even Greece, kind of right in there. Not so much North Macedonia or Bulgaria, but these three countries I talked about, and then certain areas in Turkey, I think specifically, especially out east, and then through Georgia, but that's not covered. Armenia not covered. Azerbaijan not covered. And then this area of Russia will have these kind of mountains as well. Gibraltar, I've also seen them in this kind of a corner of Spain, but it's not Spain. It's English property. White road lines are leaning me towards Turkey. We do have guardrails. However, we have a rift in the sky. Rift is Montenegro, Albania. So the rift is the big tell here. But also, like, you could get this too, just seeing the mountains. Albania. I think Montenegro is big for guardrails. I would say more so than Albania, but I feel like I know that. So I think it's Montenegro, but Albania does have rifts all over the place too. But based off the mountains, based off the rifts, I'm going to go Montenegro. Guardrails too. Guardrails is big too. I think it's Montenegro. However, it does look really nice for Montenegro. Usually, I feel like they stick you out in the middle of nowhere. We're going to go, I would assume we're on a main road here based off of how it looks. Kind of north-south, a little bit. Curves to the south. Very tough to say. Let's go in here. 29 miles away in I clicked Bosnia, dude. Oh my god, I'm such a fucking idiot. Oh my god, dude. Oh, that's such a big fail. Bosnia and Herzegovina has no Google Map coverage. I totally didn't mean to. I guess when I was zoomed in, I didn't realize, and I thought I was in Albania, and I wanted to click over in Montenegro. So I thought I was clicking here, and in reality, I clicked over here. That's a big miss. It probably puts me even closer than I would have been. Barely. I probably would have been over here. It looks like equidistant, maybe. I lose country streak, but, I mean, we knew it was Montenegro. Just a huge miss, because I'm stupid. And this was a really good score, too. Has big time potential. This could be 23K. We see these kind of like tripods. Russia has 3 lines. on the crosswalk signs. I know that for a fact. Could this be Russia? I think it certainly could be. We see bollards stacked on the corners, Russia, plus the tripod leaners, but you see other leaners as well. The big thing for me, I would say, for Russia, crosswalk, 3 lines on it, Russia. Also the houses, a lot of wood and kind of this specific like metal roofing, Russia. See that little character there? Kind of looks like an A. If the A was like I don't even know how to describe that. It looks like the A. Where can I find it here? Where is it? Very specific symbol. I swear Russia has it. I know it's for sure in like Bulgaria has it. You see that? See that character? That A looking thing? I know Serbia has it too. And I don't see it in Russia right now. But I could have sworn it has to be. It has to be. There it is. All right. But where is this in Russia? Russia's real hard to do well in. Real hard to do well. Russia also has these kind of like reflector signs at times too. White road lines, bollards stacked all around the corners of the intersection. Wood houses. It's Russia. Where in Russia? Like, do you notice how this doesn't feel at all like the Russia round previous? It's like, it's kind of a little bit more hilly. Do I want to go crazy East Russia here? That's such a big gamble. I think it's more likely West. I feel like the East has a very distinct feel to it. I'm going to go more West here. I'm going to go not too far from Moscow. To me, it just kind of feels like it. Let's go like... Let's go near Voronezh. Hopefully that's pronounced close enough. It was Novgorod. I clicked right away from that, man. Oh, that would have been such a crazy, insane game with a Russia. This is a Russia again. Long antenna. We see the black underneath the white pole. You see like the little black there? Russia poles will do that. This is bizarre. This is bizarre. Yeah, this is real. I think this is like Siberia, actually. There's new coverage up here. It's kind of like dirty. I mean, like, I don't even mean like dirty. It's like dirt. It's very in nature. It kind of feels away from everything. But there are people here. There are multiple cars, which is kind of throwing me off. Now, I know there is a sandy area. Like in here somewhere. Maybe like here. But to me, I think this is new, like Siberia coverage. It just kind of feels like out in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to get crazy. I'm going to risk it. Where is the actual coverage around here? I really don't know. I think this road, perhaps. Could it be on a river? That's like a little kind of pond around it. Certainly could be. I'd like for that to be it, but that's kind of the southwest, right? And that's not where that is. But it might not even be like a little lake. It could be just like a little stream. And also, this is saying that this is Siberia, right? I don't know that at all. We're not really on a bridge at all. There's a road that goes out to the west. Is there anything that fits that? Well, that's not it. There's some stuff going on here. We're on a northbound road. It curves northwest. Doesn't fit. Up here, that doesn't make sense. That also doesn't make sense. And again, I'm not even sure that this is correct. Because I don't know where there's coverage here. I really don't know. But I really would like to get a good score for you guys. I just think there's coverage around here. I'm not sure. I'm just going to place it down. If it's not Siberia, it's not Siberia. It was closer to this. So near Irkutsk. And wow, we couldn't see it, but there is a huge lake right to our east and west. But obviously, if we see the map here, and this is actually not even the same picture, I should have gone somewhere more populated because of the people in the previous one. I should have talked myself out of Siberia. I still would have gone probably in this area just because it doesn't look like the West at all. Do I get myself around this lake? I certainly wouldn't have clicked here because this is to the east. Certainly would not have done that, but I might have scored a little bit better. I probably would have clicked somewhere on this road if I had even like thought about going there. Maybe somewhere in there. But yeah, hopefully you guys learned a little bit of something. These are not terrible Russia guesses. Like, I think all the Russia guesses were pretty good. This one's really the only bad one. And it isn't. I still got like the East Russia. I just didn't quite pinpoint it. And I should have. I was talking myself out of that exact spot. But hopefully you guys learned a little something. Yeah, I should have all 5 there. But stupid, I clicked freaking Bosnia. But yeah. Hopefully you guys picked up on something. Longer video for those like that, nearly an hour. So I don't want to hear any complaints. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.